Hey, what's up, guys? This is your video producer, Nick, coming at you with a little brief message before episode 4 starts rolling here. We tried a new audio setup, and it's what we'll be running going forward. It's a nice 6-channel board, bunch of cool stuff. We all have mics, all this kind of good stuff coming on. One of the side effects was, with this being our first episode, we ended up with a pretty fat reverb effect on all of the audio, and it's pretty annoying, not gonna lie. At times it's pretty hard to listen to. But we've already put steps in place so this doesn't happen again. And thanks for dealing with us, and we'll get better and enjoy the show. Thanks.
Oh, were you starting it?
I can hear it.
He says.
The Demonetized Podcast. And welcome, everybody, to episode 4 now of the Demonetized Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Hanscom. Also joining me on this cam is Alex Sipes, the professional.
What up, guys?
And we have a little bit of a new setup going on, so apologies for any audio inconsistencies, but it should be better for the most part. And on other cam there, joining us, special guest, Adrian Campbell.
Howdy.
Adrian is a work friend, a old Sipes friend, a Phoenix native, and truly just a wonderful human overall. Next to him, classic Riker Roberts.
Yo.
And next to him is the always present, always wonderful Colin Fleming.
How's it going?
Always present.
Good.
Mentally present?
I wish you just left it at always present.
Just,
Yeah.
He's nothing special about him, but he's always here.
Yeah,
The quality of a god.
you know, sometimes the key to life is simply existing. You know, sometimes it's its own challenge.
Introducing Colin. He showed up today.
Thank you for showing up, Colin.
Past. You're living in the present.
So we're going to talk about a couple things today. The last ones have been, I think, really good, but definitely kind of a random flow to them. So today we're going to talk about, it's probably going to go a bunch of different places. We're going to talk about fakes, and fakes as it pertains to cars and clothes and watches and stuff like that. So we'll see how long that goes. But in the meantime, we'll start off with beer update for the day. It's something that we're probably going to be trying to do now. We're all going to bring in a bunch of random beers and try out novelty beverages. Yeah, so today it's not super novelty right now, but Colin's grabbing some of them. I'm starting off the day with a Four Peaks Kilt Lifter. I replaced a girl's aux cord in her aux jack in her Honda Element, and she rewarded me with a 6-pack of Four Peaks. So
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
can't complain.
I know
Sipes,
what he's talking
what are you
about.
drinking?
I got some who makes this? Papago Orange Blossom.
Yeah, made by Huss Brewing, actually. Right
really?
next to work there down in Tempe. Yep. Yeah. Adrian?
I'm not drinking beer, actually. I'm drinking some whiskey.
Well, you got yourself a squirt.
All right. Now I don't know about everyone else at the table, but I am a novice whiskyer at best and would like to know more. So can you explain what you're drinking and why it's cool?
Awesome. I am drinking a product from Smooth Ambler. It's the Old Scout Rye. It's a 7-year-old, high-proof, relatively high-proof rye whiskey.
Okay.
They're a cool company. They actually don't distill their own alcohol. There's actually a big monster corporation company. It sounds like a bad thing, but they actually make really good stuff, and they sell to several bottlers called MGP.
So are they barreling it themselves then?
I believe. Well, I think they barrel some stuff, and I think they have. So they have actually been making some of their own stuff, I believe now. But for the majority of their time in existence, they've bought from this producer MGP.
Okay.
But they get really good stuff, and this is good. This is discontinued as of for a few years now.
So are they're buying it and then just bottling it, or are they blending it, or how does that work?
I'm not 100% sure if they're doing any blending work there.
Okay.
But they do source it from MGP.
And do you prefer rye compared to some other formulations and other distilling methods of whiskey?
As far as American whiskey goes, I prefer American rye to bourbon.
Okay.
There are lots of bourbons that I really, really enjoy. Just on the whole, bourbons are sometimes a little too sweet for me.
Nice.
But I can't really pick favorites between like rye or Scotch or.
Well, and we've talked about, you've kind of admitted that you probably have too many bottles going on right now, which seems to be a kind of consistent brown liquor hobbyist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Got too
We're,
many
it's
bottles.
like we're hoarders by nature.
Where does that fall on the like price category? Is that like a bougie bottle, or is that like a little more
like-
commons man?
It's like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah?
It's like partial bougie.
Okay.
But it is, like I said, it is discontinued. It was a limited run that they did a few years ago, and a local shop.
Can I try some?
Yeah,
Is that cool?
That's like 99 proof. Does that taste like?
it's wonderful.
So they don't water this down at all, right?
That's proof.
They do a little bit. 49, yeah, 99 proof. They probably water it down a little bit. Because if they don't water it down, it'll usually say on the bottle that it's like barrel proof or cask strength.
Right.
It'll say that on there.
So applying my coffee kind of tasting notes to this, getting a lot of like caramel, getting a lot of caramely to it, a little bit of that kind of high fructose corn syrupy kind of smell to it.
You should notice.
That's the secret.
You should notice something pretty apparent when you drink it.
Tastes like.
Oh, a little spicy.
A little spicy.
Spicy.
The big thing for me on this was like very reminiscent of like cherry cough syrup.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, it's that same kind of mouth feeling of like when you had like the good, you know, like the like the actual good cough syrup, where it kind of like it numbed your mouth a little bit.
There was
Like
this.
the lidocaine stuff?
Yeah,
That you
like,
got, like-
the strep throat coldness.
Oh, God.
Is that the good one, the non-alcoholic-y tasting one, or no?
Which one?
I wouldn't do that recreationally, honestly.
Oh what? Oh yeah.
Lidocaine? I don't know.
I do lidocaine constantly. Yeah,
I don't
no,
know what that is.
but
It doesn't sound good.
I have a few bottles of this. I have this, and then I think the other one I have is a barrel proof, but it's an 8-year-old. It's a little older.
Okay.
But after this, they kind of, I think they released like a 10-year-old version of this, but it was like only in their distillery. Like you had to physically visit their distillery to buy it.
Interesting. And where do you know where they're out of?
They're out of.
It's funny how that matters now. It's funny how that's like a thing, you know? Like kind of no matter what you're into, whether it's like a beer or like.
It's like state pride, right?
What is it,
Like,
Kansas?
like-
Oh, what a dump.
But even like, have you noticed where like even like on camera stuff, you know,
West
so they'll talk about
Virginia.
like where is Red come out of? Like, oh, you know, they're like this boutique, you know, like the cages, you know, that they make on like Sony's and stuff. Like, yeah, they're like a small volume manufacturer. Like, you know, they're out of Tennessee and like really doing good work. And you're like when did that become like a thing?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like a lot of that's like state pride kind of thing, sort of. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like coming from California, like if I have wine anywhere, I'm like, oh, I want a wine from Napa Valley because that's where
Yeah.
I grew up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wine is like wine and whiskey are like the thing though.
Yeah.
Beer is kind of.
I think with
other
whiskey,
stuff.
it's like with whiskey, it's more of just like the location matters more for just rules.
yeah, like,
like-
is it bourbon or
Like,
Yeah, because there's like a decent amount of like legal tangle up in like it has to be made in Kentucky to be like
Right.
a Kentucky
Kentucky bourbon, yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
like bourbon can be made anywhere. But
Right.
most bourbons are made like in Kentucky.
And then that's all
There's a lot of
corn. That's all like corn, and then like content of grain into it, and then like
There-
proof coming out, right?
Yeah, there's
like part of the
rules
qualifying.
about like the percentage of like what grains have to go into the mash. I think for off the top of my head, I think bourbon has to be at least 51% corn mash, and then the rest of it can be anything. So with that, you have a wide variety of stuff where it's like you'll have like your standard one has like mostly corn, and then like some kind of blend of like rye and I don't know like a barley or something.
Yeah.
But you have ones that are heavy on like the wheat, and those are a little sweeter. And then the ones that have a little bit more rye have more of that like spice
Interesting.
to it. And like rye, of course, there's a lot of spice.
Well, and I'm sure like everything you end up developing quite a taste for it, you know. Do you guys drink a lot of liquor, like
I only drink
like in that kind of way, or in kind of a more mixers kind of way?
I drink mixers. I never drink alcohol just like straight.
I
I've
suppose.
never-
Wow, mixers is such a freaking high school way of talking about
Well, it's-
cocktails.
Sure, whatever. What is this, a mixer? Well,
Like,
no.
jeez.
Yeah.
mix.
What's your favorite chaser?
Oh, I love toothpaste, peanut butter.
Because
I hate.
I like squirt.
I like
I like that squirt.
I hate
Like-
that alcohol flavor.
like I think I'd love to be into stuff like that more, but it doesn't fit anywhere into my kind of social settings at all, right? Like if I'm gonna go meet people at a bar,
If
it's
you're not an
very
alcoholic.
seldom that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then I don't really drink by myself that much.
Well,
like the
me
most I'll drink by myself is like a crappy beer while I'm like working on the motorcycle in my garage where it's 1,000,000,000 degrees and I hate myself.
Well,
you know?
similarly to how like you drink beer for a while. Like I'm not a beer drinker really, but you drink beer for a while, and you have like your beers that you really like, right? But you have your go-to shitty beer, right?
Right.
That's the same thing with whiskey, and that's like kind of like whiskey, like in a lot of higher end like liquors like that, kind of have like a snobbiness associated with it. And wine, stuff like wine does too, and to some extent beer people,
Yeah,
right? You have the craft beer people, but that's kind of like the progression of like how you can tell if somebody actually knows their shit about something is like you'll see somebody's like really snobby, like, oh, I only drink like good whiskey from here, and it has to be at least this age or whatever.
you know you
like
don't.
that is like, well, they probably do. They probably do only drink that, and they think that anything else is swill.
Oh, right,
But
right.
like those
Yeah,
people usually are like haven't been around like the block that long, because you find like the people who are like have been in it for a long time, and they'll point you like, yeah, that $10 bottle right there, that's my go-to cheapie.
It cuts back to that. I mean, me and Riker, and probably me and Colin, like we've all talked about, not on podcasts yet, but that idea of like the pretentiousness towards stuff is like
Yeah.
a great way of just ruining your hobbies,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, and
For other people,
and,
too.
Yeah, for other
and
people,
to
too.
be able to have your kind of go-to,
Yeah.
like crappy, like I think the most helpful people with that kind of stuff is like if you can recommend someone a like under $50, like totally good, like hey, go try this, and like you'll do great and have a good time, like
Yeah.
trying whiskey or bourbon or rye
Yeah.
or something like that. That's like always the move. So
Yeah, those
put
are-
you on the spot for knowledge for anyone. What's a good move if someone's like trying to get into like whiskey and bourbon and stuff like that? What's your like go to like easy to find but like relatively cheap to like hey, here's like your first step into like not shitty beer or sorry bourbon. Like what's your move?
For bourbon,
Yeah.
I would say
Do a bourbon, a whiskey, and a rye.
I would say like one of like the one of my go-to like real just classic bourbon. It's like really solid. Is in general you want to if possible stay away from like the lower proof stuff. Like if something's 40% alcohol, like 80 proof, that's like legal minimum. That's like an indication that a company is like cutting corners and like trying to like make us, squeeze every penny they can out of that product, right?
Okay.
They're not blending it to.
Is
like,
that
the
is that
appropriate-
generally going to be the ones that are like have the branding machine behind them, like
Sort
the
of,
ones that we
yeah.
can all like name off the top of our head, kind
sort
of thing?
to some extent. But
Okay.
like you can tell, as long as something's above 40%, you can tell that there's probably like, you can bet that there's probably like a reason why it's above 40%. Like it might excel at like with a little bit of water or a little bit less water. That's more of a problem in Scotch. I'd say Scotches and like Irish whiskeys are really, really common to see at like the bare minimum 40%. Bourbon's actually like 100 proof bourbon is really common because in the U.S. we have a classification called bottled and bond. It's like an additional level of like verification for like American like liquor products. That is that it has to be 4 years old minimum, and it has to be 100 proof. So you know that there's a minimum age, even if the age isn't on the bottle. If it says bottled in bond, you know that it's at least 4 years old.
Interesting.
So
I'm sure this is all just like terminology that gets like totally lost on normal
Yeah.
people, and they're
So-
just like
yeah,
picking up stuff off shelves. You
so
know?
that's a good key. If you see something that's bottled in bond, you can guarantee like those two things about it.
And is that all going to be more expensive then?
Not necessarily. So my go-to bourbon, the reason I brought that up, my
Yeah.
go-to bourbon is there's a product called Old Granddad.
Okay.
There's a couple different variations on it. There's like a regular Old Granddad, which is like 80 proof. Avoid that one, if possible. But there's a 100 proof version, bottled in bond. It's good stuff. It's like if you go to a good place, you can find it for like $22 for a bottle. It's cheap enough where you don't feel bad about like making cocktail with it, like making an old fashioned with it or something. You don't feel bad mixing it.
Yeah.
It's cheap enough, but it's also plenty good enough to try on its own. It's like a classic, like
Good.
middle
Like,
of the road
are we
bourbon.
talking like I could go to Total Wine right now and find it?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
You could go to a lot of like grocery stores probably don't carry it, but like
Right.
most liquor stores, even smaller liquor stores, you can pretty much guarantee they'll have that.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's a good one.
See, this is what I love about this kind of stuff, and like I think this is something we talked about.
Never would
Like,
have known any of this shit.
yeah, but it's just that idea of like doing a podcast like this is like we can bring everyone's niche kind of hobbies, and like I know a couple people listening to this right now who will like find that, you know, like I find that really interesting because like you can kind of look. I know for me, it's like if I went to what's the Irish pub on Camelback by the Beamer dealer? Rosie's.
Or-
Rosie's
yeah.
has like $5 like whiskey night or whatever, where it's like or they're like half price or whatever. But I always feel weird because you know the names and stuff. You're like, oh, Glenfiddich and like Macallan, and it's like you feel like kind of an idiot getting like, oh, I'll have the Macallan like 12 year when all your friends are drinking like Coors Banquet at an Irish pub, and you're like, what
That's
am
like-
I doing here? You know?
That's like so. There's definitely like a hurdle of that where it's kind of the same thing like if you get like a nice beer when everyone's drinking, you know, some Pabst or some Coors. You know,
But you can fit that in. Like,
you
that's
can
not-
fit that
that's
in.
never
right?
weird.
But
But I suppose that's
more on you though. That's one of those.
that's me giving into the like I'm not just
Right.
ordering what I want.
That's
you know?
that's more of like the self-consciousness thing.
Yeah.
Because in reality, nobody is sitting there like judging you for drinking whiskey at a bar.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like removing yourself. Because you'll see the people who like order the whiskey at the bar and then they fuck off to the corner of the bar to enjoy and I'm gonna write some tasting notes. Oh my God. And they have alienated everyone else. Like, don't be that guy. Like, get your whiskey, go hang out with your beer buddies and like talk and be a part of the conversation. And nobody's gonna question it.
Have you guys ever been made fun of for
Yes.
getting cocktails?
Oh.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
never give a shit.
I had one. I had a certain person at work. We were working together that day, and he was like, I don't know why. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just like a beer guy. Like I don't do any of that girly cocktail stuff. And I was like,
Why?
it was just such a.
Do it.
It was such a like clashing of like old school masculinity kind of stuff.
It was
I ain't
like,
drinking that.
Dude, beer, like pretentious beer people, like.
No.
it's
He
like-
wasn't even like a pretentious beer person.
Oh, okay,
it was
alright.
it was a
It's like
like
pretentious beer people do that.
cocktails equal Cosmos and martinis.
Right.
Those are for girls.
Them are for
And
girls.
I was like, I don't know. Last time I checked, a person's a like quote unquote real man by drinking whatever they want and not really caring if anyone has anything to say about it. You know?
that's my thing. Because that's the thing is I like like the if you want to quote the manly cocktails, the whiskey cocktails, the Manhattan, the old fashioned. You have
Oh, dude, when I
the
go
dry
to,
martini.
when I go to Hula's,
Dude, no,
hit me
yeah.
with that tiki shit.
Hit me
you
with
know
a
what I'm
fufu.
saying?
Hit me with the fufu shit. Because I've totally
that one's good shit.
I've totally like been in that position where someone's like, and it's usually like, and the funny thing is it feels like the people who have the most to prove are actually like the people that I get that most from is actually like beer drinking girls who are like, yeah, I'm like a beer drinking girl. Like,
no, it's the country girl vibe.
yeah, it's a
You know,
country
like,
girl
oh,
vibe. It is. It's like, oh, you're a man, you should be drinking
I
beer.
just got out of my truck.
And
You're like,
I usually clap back with just like I dare you to drink a glass of anything on my shelf without grimacing. Because those people are like, yeah, whiskey, good, like, and then like kick it back real quick, like hit a chaser, like no, like
I drink Jack and Honey like there's no tomorrow.
yeah, Jack and Honey. What was that? 35% alcohol,
something like that.
But no, like,
Applejack.
I have stuff
Man,
on my.
you've never seen me chug a bottle of Applejack. I'm a champion.
I have stuff on my shelf that's
Thing with a chaser.
I have stuff on my shelf that's anywhere from 120 to 140.
Freaking strip paint off a car.
Yeah, like there is actually I have a sample of a bottle of bourbon.
A sample? What is that?
Somebody online sent me a little sample bottle.
Oh, I thought it was gonna. Yeah.
No, yeah.
I was hoping it
Because
was
that's
some cool ass.
because that's the whole thing. Like the bottle, like when they divvy up the bottles and that's like a whole internet world.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were telling me about that, like where they just swap samples, kind of like the fountain pen people like swap ink samples, but it seems like that's more common.
And there's
with
whole
whiskey.
like stealth. I've heard about this whole like stealth Facebook pages where they
Yeah.
do like whiskey raffles and like
Yeah.
people buying shares of
Yeah, there are.
like casks and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And,
Holy
like,
shit.
the whole
But-
world.
Yeah, but I have this sample at home. I never found a full bottle of it. but it's an Elijah Craig product called Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and there was one release of it, or maybe more by now, but there was one release of it at the time that was called the Hazmat release, because anything over, I think it's 70% alcohol, has to be marked with a flammability warning on the bottle, like legally. So it's it was like the only whiskey on the market at the time that had a flammability warning on it. Like I have that on my shelf. I'll drink that straight.
Is that was that the same kind of thing where they put the like the little mesh filter on the tip of like the Everclear bottles?
Yeah,
Because it was like so flammable if
You
someone
want
was
to pour it
mad.
out fast?
Yeah. Well, you'll see.
No, it can go
That's-
back into the bottle.
Oh, and then Molotov cocktail.
Well, there's
Hell
there's that, and then like I think that's actually just like so people aren't chugging it, because I see that on like
is that what that
40%.
does?
I think that's,
Okay.
I've seen that on 40% alcohol like pop off plastic bottles too, where people.
Yeah, also,
it's
just
so
shout
that,
out to Popov. That's definitely the best of the worst vodka.
Yeah.
The plastic jug Popov. It's potato vodka. It's very smooth. Mixes well with anything, and you can get it pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Shout out. Thank you, Popov.
Yeah.
Popov, official sponsor. That's not true. I'm lying. It's not real. It's a alleged sponsor.
We love
Yeah.
we love those guys.
Yeah, I think those things are so that like bums aren't like getting alcohol poisoning in back alleys from chugging pop off too quickly. Because there's a point like if you're chugging from one of those, there's got to be a point where your brain says just like nope, stop it, don't do that. But if you remove that little filter, you can get a lot more down before
If
your
you're,
brain starts
yeah,
to
maybe
cry.
if you're not a real man.
Yeah,
That sounds
if
like a
you're a
bitch.
real
That sounds like
man.
a bitch move to me. Must be
only
real
chug-
fun at parties.
But that's
Only chug Popov in the back alley.
Yeah, but that whole like be a man thing, like that's the thing is like I drink like some of the most foo-foo stuff on the planet, and I drink some of the like
Hell
harshest
yeah,
stuff on the
brother.
planet. It's like, and like anything in between is like you just drink what you like. Just drink what you like. Like that's the thing. I'm gonna like if you clown on me, I'm gonna clown on you.
Well, and that's where I think some of that kind of human communication stuff factors into it. Is just like right context, you know, in the same way where like I've been reading through. I always do, but reading a lot through like Reddit's like male fashion advice subreddit, which is great to send to people. Like I had a cousin who basically said like, "Hey, I heard you're like kind of into fashion at this point. Like, any like resources?" I sent him some of those because it's a great like how do you pair like textures and and colors and stuff like that, and how do you assemble like basic outfits?
It's like how to make something and not look weird? Like it looks like it's normal, and then you build.
But the guys that show up to like everything, like the classic ones, like it's the Oxford button down, the chinos, and like the whatever.
It's the MFA uniform.
The MFA uniform is like a meme at this point, and you can see that a lot of guys are completely failing at that because they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to, you know, I wore the like. Does anyone else get weird looks when they're like wearing the MFA uniform in public?" And then you go in the thread, and people are like, "Well, where do you work?" And it's like, "Oh, I do shipping in a warehouse." And it's like,
You got
well,
chino shorts and boat shoes.
well, yeah, and it's like, well, no shit, like you didn't pick your context right, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it's that same kind of thing where, you know, you're not going to be the guy that's wearing shorts and a t-shirt, aka drinking a PBR
Hell yeah, brother.
at like a fancy, you know, fancy event, but you'd also be a little silly looking if you were like mowing the lawn with like a big glass, like old fashioned that you made, you know?
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's true. Like, if you're at like a weird scuzzy bar, well, first, they probably don't have nice liquor there. But if they did, you wouldn't want to order. You
But
would
dude,
look
I've
at a
seen,
place.
I've seen people try to commandeer like, hey, you have Jack Daniels, right? And they're like, yeah. They're like, give me a double of that, and they're just trying to like sip on whatever whiskey they had to try to like maintain that bit, you know? And it's
You
like,
know,
dude, they have this
like-
is like a beer place.
Yeah.
They have good beer here. Drink the good beer.
Yeah.
Or drink PBR. Drink whatever you want.
Right.
It's like the person.
Back to that one.
It's like the person that doesn't order the steak at the steakhouse.
Who the hell doesn't do that?
Like, dude, I go to so many breweries and there's like someone is like ordering a cocktail and they're like, they kind of flaunt it like I'm the guy with the cocktail here, and it's like I get it, like know your context.
I'm the guy with the
Don't go
cocktail
to the Blue
here,
Hound and
bitch.
order a Blue Moon.
Now I'm psyched because there's a decent amount of those breweries and stuff now that are doing the cocktails involving their beer somehow,
Yeah.
which I think are really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I like those. I've tried a lot of those because I'm not a beer guy. Like, there's very few
Oh,
beers
what
that
are
I
you?
actually enjoy. So that's actually like a thing where like if I'm having something like that, I'm like really worried about just like, ooh, like I don't know if I'll even like anything here.
You're
It's
not
like
a
that's
real
just,
man.
I'm not a real
I
man.
like beer, but
What
definitely
do you drink? Whiskey?
I can't be trying to get drunk off of beer. It's too much liquid. I get
Yeah.
like too bloated.
I like the
It's
drunk off of
yo,
beer.
Just like give me
Depends on what
like
beer you're
I can control the drunk off of beer because you cannot consume anymore.
let me play beer pong with gin. You know, like
Get me a
that
Bud Light.
was a good time. And then let me
Give me
skate
one of them.
home at midnight.
Give me one of them old styles.
Well, like, okay, so people, like, we're built similarly, right? I like the beer buzz. I don't like being drunk, but I like getting a couple beers in me
Because,
right away.
well, for you and me, we're like that kind of. So the beer, you can control it. You feel. Because if we take like 2 shots, you have no idea what you ate that day. Like it might be the end of it.
Well, and like 2 or
You
3
might
beers,
die.
I'm like, like to get me drunk is like 3 or 4 beers.
Right.
Like 2 or 3 beers is like silly time. I shouldn't drive, definitely.
It fluctuates so much for me that literally, if I have 1 shot of vodka at all, I'll throw up. And I think I'm just allergic to vodka.
Can we get Riker a shot of vodka?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, you
it's
want
bad.
some of this?
No, it won't even be fun.
But-
like
but-
I'll throw up in like 5 hours.
By the way,
And I won't be drunk.
This is complete fair game for anyone. Like Nick mentioned earlier, I have too much at home.
I'll
And-
try it. 'Cause that's
Yeah, I want to try it too. Although I'm
try yours.
very much not a fan of whiskey. I've never really like.
Is that one sacrilege if I add like an ice cube or 2 to it? If I add a little water to it?
What are you, a bitch?
I am way past the point of thinking that anything is sacrilege.
You could put purple
But,
drink.
there's some that are okay and some that aren't, right? Aren't there some that like the flavor totally
that-
gets like nuked, or is that just another like misnomer?
So there is truth to it. The issue with ice is that the idea is that if you have too cold of a beverage, that it kind of anesthetizes your tongue a little bit, and you
Oh,
get a
interesting.
little bit less of the nuance.
Okay.
That's the prevailing idea. Having the water that ends up getting incorporated in the whiskey is not a problem at all. In fact, with a lot of higher proof whiskeys, I add water. Like it helps. And it tastes fine. It tastes great.
Interesting.
It takes, especially like I said, those like 140 proof like monsters. Like if you don't add a little water to that, as soon as it touches like the heat of your tongue, it just evaporates in like a puff. Like you can feel it. Like the space in your mouth expands because it has like vaporized instantly. It's so high alcohol. So like stuff like that is like you need like a little bit of water just to like make the drinking pleasurable. But no, I think that my thoughts on that are kind of the same as like the whole cocktail thing. It's like, oh, you should drink whatever you want. Well, you should drink your whiskey however you want. That's my thought.
I think whiskey has been ruined for me by, whenever I first started to drink like liquor and stuff, I would drink like whiskey was kind of like the go-to because it was like, oh, whiskey, drink your whiskey and whatever. And
Can we talk about like early alleged drinking years and like what that looked like? Because I find
what people were drinking
I find
back then?
those like segues to be like fascinating. Like how when did you become when did it happen? So
When did
you're
When did it happen? And then like what was your drink of choice back then?
so I started out, I went to like a very Christian high school, like very Christian kind of like, so I didn't drink at all in high school or like
That's because God was
anything
watching.
until I got to college.
Had a grip on the liver.
Dog was watching.
Dog.
My
Dog
dog
the
was
bounty
watching.
hunter was watching me.
Oh hell!
You better behave.
I'm gonna crush you with my wife.
the bounty hunter.
So that like whiskey was like the go-to drink at that point because my
Hell yeah,
friends
bro.
at that point that I had were like, let's go grab a cigar, have ourselves a grill, and then drink some whiskey.
Oh,
but
okay.
we
Well,
were
so
all-
that's at least okay. So that's like a different than the like
But
find the cheapest bottle
No,
and
no, no,
like get
yeah,
a
yeah.
2 liter of Coke.
But keeping in mind, it was more about the aesthetic of that when trying to keep the price as low as possible. So it was like, let's buy the cheapest whiskey we can possibly find, the cheapest cigars we can possibly find, the cheapest steaks we can possibly find, and then let's just overdose on all 3 of them at the same time. Excellent. So we would just we would buy, let's get 2 bottles of Jack Daniels, and then we would just chug whiskey until we were all vomiting like ridiculous amounts.
Here's to feeling good all the time.
How was that fun?
It wasn't, but it was like it wasn't
badass.
because you'd be like really drunk for a while. You'd be like, "This is great, really drunk," and then you would just his parents at the time they had I think it was a five bedroom 3 bathroom house, and there was 3 of us, and basically every night that we would hang out and do that, each of us would be in each of the bathrooms just
God.
like vomiting.
But isn't that what people
profusely.
like? That's how people thought it worked, right?
That was so like that was
That was
thing.
the idea. You're like, oh, this is how you do it, right?
I was like 18 and I was like, "Ah, yeah, we're drinking.
I did
getting
that.
drunk,
Like 18,
getting
19, just like chug vodka. I'm like, this is, I hate this.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason. Like I smelt that whiskey and it just brought
you back.
so many shitty
Everybody,
memories.
I think everybody has that food or that drink or something that has made them throw up, and they just can't touch it anymore.
Yeah.
For a really long time.
I have none of that. I can't.
All of mine are done.
Really? None?
No, I don't. I've never understood that.
I don't have
Like Taco
yeah.
Bell and stuff, and people are like, oh, like I eat enough Taco Bell that like you're gonna get some bad Taco
Right.
Bell.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
like,
that was. I mean, for
It's that
me, it
sour
was never
cream
like
pocket.
like food poisoning. Never did that to me. For whatever reason, it always happened with like the flu. Like if you had the flu and whatever you had
Before the last
like
meal.
the last meal, the
Yeah,
last meal.
like turkey, hot
Like,
dogs.
I
was
had-
one of the-
Last Supper.
I had chocolate. I think it was chocolate. What was it? Chocolate yogurt.
But-
You know, like the little, like,
That's okay.
Bad
I mean,
choice to begin
How
with.
much you eating that anyway? Like that's a good one.
That's why
yeah,
you
but I
threw
could
up.
never have it. I was done.
I,
My sister had chocolate cake.
my
I had a hamburger. I couldn't eat any of the ingredients of a hamburger for like 5 months.
Mine
no
was-
lettuce, tomatoes, any of that shit.
Mine was egg rolls, and it was for such a. I'm good now. But this was literally like middle school. I shit you not, literally probably like 6 years straight. That if I like looked at egg rolls or smelled them, I was like, like seriously, visceral, like a visceral reaction to egg rolls for like 6 years, just because I got frozen microwave egg rolls from Costco when I was in middle school, and I ate like 20 of them.
Mom, where's the Mountain Dew?
Dude, I did the same thing with bananas and chocolate dip when I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6. My
These
family
are like things
had
that you don't eat though. So like these are
yeah,
good.
I know that's fine. And then so that does it for me. And then like I haven't lost any of my baby teeth by myself. I don't know what happened, but like I had to have all of them extracted. So, but every time they would give me laughing gas, and they would swab it with like whatever scent they wanted.
And it was the nanners.
It was all the like highly concentrated like watermelon, cherry. So I can't touch Jolly Ranchers because that smell or the taste will get.
You got all your baby teeth.
Yes, and my mom has all of them.
What? How did that happen?
You had to
They
just get all of them pulled.
They weren't getting loose, or your mom was just
Yeah,
like,
I
"That's
don't-
dangerous. I don't want to pull them out of your mouth. We got to take you to the dentist."
My
Well,
sweet
I have,
baby.
I have hyperdontia, so you grow too many teeth, and you generally don't. Some people don't lose their baby teeth very easily.
Shark boy.
So yeah, I've only lost one tooth by myself, and I did it in a burrito. And but like anytime I eat a Jolly Rancher or something like that, that scent comes back, and I feel I start to feel like the effects of laughing gas, just because my brain's like tricking me. But yeah, and then I had to have some like adult teeth removed.
Yeah, that's weird.
Your mom keeps all your teeth, so when you die, she can resurrect you in like a weird.
In like an alchemy circle.
With a child mouth.
So here's the thing: one of the adult teeth that I had taken out, my band had played like middle school. We had like the talent show or whatever. We played the talent show, and the morning of, that was when I had the extraction, and they were like, my dad was like, "Fuck it, you can do like the rehearsal, or whatever. Like it happens in the morning, the show is in the evening. You can do it." Turned out my like mouth started bleeding while we were playing like crazy.
That's punk rock though.
Yeah, so I was tripping like
Punk's not dead.
never died, never died, and never died.
These special effects are really good. That kid's mouth, his blood just gushing out. It's so weird.
Yeah,
It's the emo kids like, it's
they were playing like Ozzy Osbourne, but so one of the teeth. Of course, my mom kept those. Like a couple years later, I drilled a hole in one of the teeth and made a necklace out of it.
Now that's punk rock.
Oh,
That's rock and roll.
This story's getting more and more punk rock as we go.
That sounds like
so
that sounds like that could be a post on Reddit's blunder years. You know, like in a punk band wearing a necklace made out of my own teeth. Like,
Speaking of being too drunk,
Yeah.
no, that's fair.
Jesus. Yeah, I remember your middle school band, and I remember that Crazy Train was the showstopper at the end of the show for like.
That was when the blood started pouring.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I remember they even bought like the little thing that does the rattle. What is it called? The Vibra Slap. They bought a Vibra Slap just for that song.
Is anybody else just picturing Sipes' mouth being the elevator from The Shining?
I'm imagining a bunch of missing teeth, like he's that crocodile dentist toy.
And then you got that.
Just a bunch of shit missing. Crocodile dentist looking ass.
Somewhat related to alcohol, I have a little beer here that I purchased that I was talking about bringing on the second episode, but I forgot to get it. But this is somewhat related to.
Something changed in my headphones.
Whoa, Sipes, what did you do?
Oh.
What? I muted this, so I didn't.
Okay, cool. I thought we lost everything.
I can hear it. You can't.
AKA, you have Spicy Cup round 2, right?
Yeah. So this is round 2 of Spicy Cup. So I have had this before. At least I think I have. Whenever I purchased it last time, the liquid is kind of like this.
That looks like piss.
golden shower.
That looks like piss.
Throw it. Throw the bottle in front of that other one there too.
Oh, sorry.
Throw the bottle against the wall.
Well, that looks like piss.
It's like R. Kelly Golden.
So what's the name of it?
So this
R.
is
Kelly pisses.
Chili Beer by
Chili
Cave
Beer.
Creek.
And show the actual chili floating in it. I find that to be a fun novelty. Yeah, for sure.
That's badass.
It's got
An
a
actual
floater in
chili in
there.
it.
So I'm gonna pop the top on this little baby here.
Do it. Don't hurt your hand.
I also we brought some other ones. Sipes has one of them. Did you get that out of the fridge?
He sure did.
Yeah, I sure
Okay.
did.
I got really confused because you went downstairs and you came back up and then you put that on the table and I was like, does Sipes have the same?
No, I
We
didn't.
got that out of the bag.
I have it over
Spent
the
it.
fridge. Here, let's put that one in front of the put that one in front of the mic too.
It's a Star Trek.
This one is Star Trek Mirror Universe Terrans Unite India Pale Lager. Made by Schmaltz Brewing Company.
It's the
Licensed
Schmaltz.
trademark CBS.
I was like, oh, what did they put in this 6-pack here? Oh, wow.
That's like the most hardcore name I've ever heard of anything.
I really appreciate like novelty beer in that like it's always cheap enough that you're like willing to try it, and worst case it's awful. Like I've had some
Doesn't it
awful
always
novelty
suck?
beers. It's always
I
almost
feel like it
always
almost
bad.
always sucks.
Almost
like
always
the Game
bad.
of Thrones beers.
It's funny though.
Sorry, the wines. The Game of Thrones wines. The beers were okay. The wines.
That cherry
from, like,
mead though.
Oh, that wasn't even a Game of Thrones one, but that cherry mead.
Dude, cherry mead always reminds me of like cough syrup.
That's what it was.
Oh, it was definitely cough syrup. At the what season of Game of Thrones
That
was
was
it?
season 7.
Season 7. We went to the premiere, had a little premiere party at Colin's apartment, and I don't know anything about Game of Thrones. And I didn't really care. I just wanted to hang out with people and fight my crippling loneliness.
Welcome, haters.
I basically drank most of the bottle of Colin's cherry mead and got pretty lit, which
Everybody has
doesn't
that.
happen too often.
You
but
got pretty ha-ha.
I got pretty ha-ha off that cherry mead.
Everybody had a sip, and then we were like, we don't want to touch that ever again because that tastes disgusting. And Nick was like, bottoms up.
I said that tastes like piss.
See, I don't mind mead, but like it's a very sweet drink. Like any variation of mead is pretty sweet.
Riker, what was your first drink?
Me? Oh yeah, I thought that we were gonna keep.
Yeah, what was your first drink?
I don't know. I didn't want to drink for no reason at all. I didn't want to drink until I was
You know what
21.
Riker's first drink was?
What was it?
At least your first legal drink.
What was my first legal drink?
That was a Blue Moon.
Man yogurt.
No.
Patrick told me it was a Blue Moon.
It was
You had
my
it at
first.
the GCU lounge, didn't you?
No, I'll get to it. That was later. That was like second or third. But like, all the kids in my hometown, like lived really rural, so everyone would go and get trashed like, out in the field, and I was like, this is not a good thing to do. Like even at the best case scenario, it's so lame that like I just didn't. And we had like all these crazy video game parties all the time with no alcohol.
Yeah.
And it seemed to work out for us. So I don't know. I just didn't care to.
Yeah.
I thought that like I didn't want to become even more distracted because I already like wasn't good at school. I didn't want any more distractions to not.
Yeah, we can tell.
Yeah, I went to Ruth's Chris on my birthday, and I had wine, like a red wine, as my first drink with steak.
They let you have that.
Yeah, oh yeah, they let me.
I'm gonna call the cops.
I put a bag on my head so my mom couldn't tell from the pictures that it was me.
So how long ago was that now?
That was when I was 21.
A year ago?
20 minutes ago.
I'm gonna call Ruth Chris. Hey fuckers, remember 3 years ago when
Piece of shit.
you served alcohol to a minor?
No, he was 21.
Were you 21 at the time?
I was 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I thought. Oh,
I'm
okay.
still gonna call him.
I'm still gonna accuse him of something.
Adrian, what was your first drink? Nice try, Sipes.
Nice try, bitch.
My first drink, I think my first actual like full drink that I had, I think was like a Coors Light. Do you remember when you and I went over late at night, like my senior year of high school, before that, to Miles's place?
I'm getting some Brokeback.
Yeah, I drank a beer there and it was fine. But
Went up to the tent.
that
was good.
But yeah,
Thought it was pissed with his cars.
my go-to after that, because that started just a spiral. I was like, I like this, and I was like, I'm gonna be a party boy.
I don't know. I don't know what this is, but I like it.
I'm gonna be a party boy.
Coors Light. I can't spell it, but I sure do like it.
Coors Light.
But no,
Put it in my gullet.
my go-to drink of choice after that point was UV
God.
vodka
Which one?
cake.
Yeah.
You could find me at a party, just like with one of these like bottles glued to my hand, essentially, and I would just drink the whole thing over the night.
There is a famous
That's
story.
badass.
There's a famous story and picture of Big Matt, aka Matt Wallen. Shout out Matt Wallen. I know you're not watching this, but I miss you, dude. And he, on his like 18th birthday, guy from back home, drank a whole bottle of UV cake by himself. He was like a big dude, and this was like during the summer. So there's a picture of him naked. Well, he's like hanging on like an inner tube that someone threw to him. He jumped in the lake naked and then puked all around him. And so there's a picture of him floating in like this inner tube with this pool of UV cake puke, and he's just, like slumped in this inner tube. That's my UV cake story. Wow, that's a bad beverage.
Yeah, it's a terrible beverage. But
I haven't had that in a long time.
neither have I, and I'm better for it.
When did you
now.
kick that habit?
I want to get some now.
Like 6
Does
years
it
ago.
taste like funfetti?
It must have,
No, it
was
tastes like funfetti birthday cake.
Yeah, it
Really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
What are you, gay?
So
I
my
saw that.
my big UV cake story was actually my girlfriend's earliest memory of me as a human being.
Oh dear God.
We met at a party. My girlfriend's, she'll tell you this. She's like, yeah, when I met him, I remember he had a bottle of UV cake that he was carrying around at this party, and I asked him if I could have some, and he said no. I was like, did I really say no? She's like, yeah, you wouldn't let me have any of it.
No, bitch, this is a man's drink.
It's a man's world.
This is a man.
That's what I started singing that.
Go have some whiskey or beer.
And
This
then
is a man.
I throat slammed her. I just picked her up and slammed her through a coffee table.
You get out of here, woman. This is my drink.
Yeah, no, but that was like her earliest memory of me. She's like, yeah, I asked him for some of his UV cake and he would not give me any of it.
Wow.
And then you found love.
Yeah.
Sipes, what was your first ever little bev?
Well, first of all, I was at that party, and everything you said is true.
Validation.
It was that, and then it was also the UV blue. Everyone immediately like, "What are you drinking?" Oh, you can tell immediately. Yeah, the raspberry stuff. We were also the only two people that like had any knowledge of cigars, which was none. So
everyone else had negative knowledge of cigars?
That's a pro tip, everyone. If you can make yourself a fake subject matter at a gathering, do it.
you might as well.
It's like, I know the most. And they're
The
like,
party
oh,
was
shit.
all people that had like were about to graduate, and I had graduated a year prior, so I was like the older dude at the party.
The creepy guy.
that could see. Yeah, I know. I just know anymore. But my first drink was it was like either peach or raspberry. I think it was raspberry vodka. It was disgusting. And
You mean good?
I just started drinking this stuff at home because I was like, I'm sure this will make me better at guitar.
That's the elixir of Jimi Hendrix.
I grew up with European parents, so they gave us beer. Like maybe we could have a beer, like half a beer with dinner. Or like
Oh, the
wine or
damn
something like that.
Euros.
I hate
like
them
14,
commies.
13, 14 years old, and then my mom got my mom started brewing cider, and she got my dad into brewing beer. So then it was like we were drinking beer like it was our job. But right after I got super pissed drunk on the vodka was then like traveling with my band, and we had free Heineken on tap just whenever we wanted to for like a week. And that was the first time I saw Chris drunk. It was the first time I was like really drunk around people.
Chris.
So that's it. Yeah, depending on which version of you want. It's either vodka, which I won't touch again.
You'll never
the
drink
fruity
vodka
stuff.
again?
Not the fruity stuff. Dude, the smell of it makes me like.
Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about the first time we got drunk or the first drink?
My first drink was that.
Either.
The first time I was drunk was also that.
They were both.
Yeah, no, I was too good at it. I like had like a glass of wine and I was like, that was very splendid. Thank you all. And then I left.
I liked wine.
Riker's first drink was the first time he
And
got
they
drunk.
bound down to me. No, I was feeling that half the glass. I like was the fourth end. I was like, holy shit.
Okay, question.
Oh, where's the demons?
Demons.
Okay, question.
Holy state.
Who here didn't like beer the first time they tried beer?
Everyone.
I liked beer the first time I tried it. I liked all alcohol the first time I
Well,
tried
so I
Nobody
mean,
likes beer
so
when
I had
I liked it.
I had
I thought it was
a warm red dog
like a kid.
was my first beer.
A what?
A warm red dog.
Ooh, yummy.
I love dogs.
So I like grew up drinking like a decent amount, like small amounts of wine, like with dinner and stuff like that. Like my parents were that same kind of thing, so alcohol was never like a whatever. So I would like go to parties and just hang out and like not drink. Some of that was like private Christian school, holier than thou kind of complex. But when I'd hang out with the public school kids, like I would just like hang out and make drinks for people and stuff. But I was like, it was either 14 or 15, and I was hanging out with people that were 2 years older than me. Yeah, maybe 15. Yeah, that sounds about right. But this guy, like, I was hanging out with some friends, and 2 doors down was a girl from my friend's math class. It was her 18th birthday. We're like, we're going to that. He like barely knows her. We just like show up, classic bonfire, Minnesota summer bonfire in the backyard kind of thing. And this like random dude just pulls out. He's like, "Hey, you want a beer?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I stole these from my dad's stash."
He had to make sure you knew
And
that.
not the
Oh,
refrigerator.
yeah. No, for sure, yeah. And so it was a Red Dog, which is like a Wisconsin, like, you know, this is like 50 cents a can, like a rack is like $10 kind of beer. And it was just the worst. And I happened to be like, you know, 15-year-old fighting with a girl I fancied at the time. And was just really upset. And so I drank my Red Dog. And then one of the girls' moms gave her a bottle of wine to bring to this 18-year-old's birthday party. Because classic suburban moms and shitty parents and
Why
stuff.
I like this. You like it too.
Oh, this wasn't, yeah, and it was really bizarre too, because that was like the first time I saw, like, the parents were like making like hors d'oeuvres, like little appetizers for everyone, while these like 17 and 18-year-olds are like getting drunk in like the back. It's really bizarre.
I've been to like a few of those.
Yeah,
too.
it's really like,
What the hell is
and I'm
this?
like,
What you
and me
guys
as like a
doing?
15-year-old, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. And so then the girl like passed around the bottle of wine, and like my friends didn't want it. I was just like pissed, and I drank like most of the bottle because I was the only one who had any sort of like wine tolerance from like drinking it with dinner, like at home. I just like crushed this bottle of wine and then it's just like meow, and that put me out from beer a while. I didn't really drink really anything like. Not much more than that, and I didn't really drink till I was like actually legal, just because like I had scholarships and stuff. I didn't want to go away, but I would like drink at home like during summers because I basically was like, hey, parents, I was like, I'm on the honor roll, I'm doing real good, everything's fine. I was like, when I'm home for the summer, can I have like beer and like some drinks like in the house? And they're like, allegedly, they're like, yeah, that's okay. So like I was underage, and me and my dad would like make Moscow mules, and like I would drink hard cider and beer and stuff. I always thought that was a good way of doing it because then I was like, guys, I'm on the fucking like dean's list. Like, come on, like.
I'm better than everyone.
I ain't gonna be drinking that piss down by the creek.
But dude, it's so fun. It's so funny people's like first time, like actually drunk stories. You know?
I don't remember mine.
I punched someone in the face. On
Not because I don't remember that, but because I can't think of the time. It was one of the times. It was pretty funny.
I like to imagine that Colin punching someone in the face hurts him more than it does them.
It was a girl too. I got really, really drunk. I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time. And we went to a party, and somebody was like, "Hey, we've got this tequila. Do you want some tequila?" And I was like, "Sure." And I drank like a shit ton, like way more than I should have. It's a twist top. I didn't know that until just now.
Hey, shout out
And
to
I
the twist
totally
tops.
blacked out that night.
Bottles of the people. Right
I've
there.
never blacked out.
My friends had to drive me home, carry me into my bedroom, and put me in my bed because I was just like wasted.
See, I'm way too much of a control freak for all that.
I
can't
didn't
ever
realize.
get blackout.
Yeah,
I'm
won't
way
do
too
it.
like.
Have you been blackout?
No.
Me neither.
The only times I get
I've
like,
never even gotten close to
the only times I get like, I don't like being really, really drunk. Like to me, it's
Me
kind of
neither.
like a sad thing a lot.
My hangovers are
But,
too bad.
Science.
Oh, what do you do? What they doing?
But to me, it's it has to be kind of the perfect setup, you know? It has to be like
All the right people.
cabin in the wood, or like 100% people I trust, and like at a house where I have a place to stay, and like all of that's like perfect.
Yeah.
Like we did a couple of those where like we'd get like a cabin up in Flagstaff and like hang out and play board games and drink for like a weekend, which is
That's a
also
good weekend.
pretty meaningless in its own. I don't know. To me, like the problem was they never wanted to go hiking or anything.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, you gotta like do that during the day.
So
Just
it'd be
to
like,
the cabin
I was
and
like,
just stay at the
yeah.
cabin
So I was like, yo, when are we like? So we gonna go for like a hike or like going to town and like get dinner? And they're like, oh no, we just like play board games and drink.
No, that's not what you do every day.
Oh, yeah.
in Flagstaff, you don't do that during the day. You hike.
No, not on these trips.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like my perfect. It was like St. Patrick's Day. It was like the perfect level of lit, where it was like we like pre-gamed a little bit, like went to Valley Bar, like hung out, then like walked a mile to Welcome Diner, and you're like pretty sober by the time you get to Welcome Diner. Eat like a good meal, Uber home, go to bed fully sober and good,
Not
and wake up
hungover.
totally fine the next morning. That's my like perfect thing. I hate going to bed like
I-
any sort of drunk. It's just
Yeah.
a trash.
I hate being hungover, and if I lay down at all, I'm scared I'll throw up because I throw up after like freaking looking at alcohol. I'm never even drunk when I throw up either. I'll just throw up.
Oh, we passed around the
For no
spicy
reason.
beer?
Okay,
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah,
Take a
let's
swig.
I
try
haven't
to.
yet. I will.
Am I gonna do? Or are
I've
we
had it
just-
before, so everybody else. Yeah, just go over.
Yeah, just pass it around. Yeah, I don't have mouth herpes.
Am I doing the first?
Yeah, please.
Adrian, are you
Okay,
picked
here we
up
go.
on people's mouths?
Here we go, bitch.
I like to just like go right in the bottle. Is that a problem?
I like to spit it back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just switched the spit back.
Okay. It smells like a bowl of salsa. Okay, here we go.
Not off to a good start.
try to mask your.
Yeah, save reactions until it gets around.
How are you supposed to mask that reaction? That's not a thing.
It's wonderful. So good.
If you have to put premium on the bottle, it's not.
Holy shit.
Only exception is Grain Belt Premium from Minnesota. It's wonderful.
This does not
Good
smell
beer.
good at all.
No, it smells exactly like it tastes.
It's not good.
Except for it's way
I'll let
hotter.
you know right now.
That fucking blows.
You can't savor the. You can't. We can't. If it was like not that, then I could have been like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it later. But that fucking sucks. That's really hot. Tastes like shit.
Let's just talk about Adrian's face right now.
That tastes like garbage.
That's what it tastes like?
Fucking
That?
garbage.
Well, did you see my face? That's what it tasted like too. That sucks.
The pepper touched me. That really caught me off guard. I actually don't mind it.
That was a wiener.
It reminds me, honestly, it reminds me
Where
a little
did the
bit
pepper
of the,
touch you?
Here. And here.
That is not like, hey, hand me that chili beer.
Okay, so here's the thing. The McFate chili gatos. I don't know if they have it, like they consistently are out of it. But they make it with chilies. It's not nearly that strong. That's too strong. That's like that, you know, like
It's just
someone hands you like
stupid.
habanero jelly or whatever, you're like, why the fuck are you making
Habanero churros.
That's really.
Yeah, you're
But,
wrong.
but
Fuck
sometimes
you,
they
dude.
like
Cream
really
cheese.
overdo it.
Fuck you.
Jelly on some crackers.
I like that on
That's
hors
good, but they
d'oeuvres.
overdo it all the time.
That is the kind of beer
Or the candy.
for that weird guy that doesn't really understand how food pairings work. So he's eating like a bowl of chili that's kind of spicy, and he's like, "Oh, I read this thing online about pairings and beer pairings." He's
And
like,
I think chili's pair with chili.
I'm having spicy chili, and I need a savory, spicy beer to go with it. And he's like, this is such a savory meal right now.
And then I ate myself a loaf of Wonder Bread.
I'm
to-
truly blessed. I
be
love
the
Want a
mine.
nice hot beverage for your hot burger. Like that kind of
You should
logic.
eat that pepper.
I was.
Are we going again?
I
No,
don't
we
know.
don't have to.
I don't know why this is making the rounds again.
No.
Do not send it this way.
Just handed it to Riker.
I'm gonna yeet it down the stairwell. Yeet!
Smelling more and more like a PBR.
I just handed it to Riker and he lifted it to his mouth and I was like, holy shit, did I just get him to drink it again?
That's I'm not gonna do that.
That's
I
miserable.
ain't gonna do that one
Can
again.
you pass it to me real quick?
Yeah.
Sure. Here you go.
Are you gonna eat the pepper? You should eat the pepper. Somebody should eat the pepper.
I'm gonna stick it on my pee hole.
You're gonna
All right.
sound that one?
I'd like
Cave-
Casey urethral.
Cave Creek Chili Beer. You are the weakest link.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Weakest.
0.
E0.
0 out of 10.
Are there any novelty beers that are good?
This isn't really a beer.
Plus kombucha.
Hard kombucha?
Nick Fate.
But it was in the beer area.
No.
Oh, dude, I got the Rogue kombucha.
Yeah, so I also...
Do we want to open a bunch of these right now, or do we want to save them for other episodes?
Nah, let's just go through them all now.
We'll get 6 new ones.
Yeah. Okay. Here. So we'll do this. This will be the alcohol podcast, and we'll do fakes for the next one.
Okay.
Let's stay on
Yeah, sounds
alcohol.
good.
This
Let's
is
do
good.
it.
Yeah.
So right here, in
I
this,
love
in,
alcohol.
In my hand, this is a little hard kombucha.
Now, so this is interesting
tell my
because
mom.
I remember when a bunch of kombucha came out. It was all like minorly alcoholic enough that you had to like ID for it. It was like this
duct
whole shenanigans. It was like 0.001 or something like that % alcohol.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah. Well,
They
same thing
still
with like a lot
charge
of
you
cough syrups too.
Well,
like that.
Don't they?
Well, I think they figured out like some kombuchas like how to not do it, but I remember there being a thing.
Yeah.
Where there's just alcoholic to be like, whoa, hell yeah.
Oh, it was like a spicy beer burp. That was
It
not.
was, yeah, that beer sucks.
That's, my throat and mouth and stomach hurt.
I'm just gonna grab the rest of them and grab the little popper top.
Yeah, please. That'd be fun.
What a weird bottle, too, that one.
Kombucha.
It's the same as like either the Butterberg like ginger beer or like Red Stripe.
the
beer
Red
of
Stripe.
Jamaica, man.
Oh, my God.
Red Stripe.
A Red Stripe.
Airy, man. Airy. Oh, hell yeah. I want that fucking.
The story about this before we drink it.
Is that a Zima? Yeah. Jesus,
Here,
I was kidding.
I'll look up the
That's
story.
actually a Zima.
It's actually a scene.
This looks straight out of Back to the Future, too. It looks
looking
so
for beer,
cool.
And I found it, and I was like, holy shit.
This
that's
looks
awesome.
like a freaking Frank Lloyd Wright made bottle.
Listen, I'm not gonna fuck around here. I will fuck up a Zima.
Dude, I bought that one and a 6-pack to bring home.
Hey,
Look how cool
hey,
this
do you
bottle
want to put the bottle in front of the other webcam there?
Speaking of girly drinks, that was like the meme drink.
I've never
like the
even
early
heard of this.
2000s.
So when I first initially saw that bottle, it reminded me kind of like Ball's energy drink, you know, like
with the
classic.
dots down the side.
Yeah. So according to Wikipedia here, Zima is a clear, lightly carbonated beverage made and distributed by the Coors Company. Introduced in '93, it was marketed as an alternative to beer. An example of it is now often referred to as a cooler. Oh.
It's a wine cooler.
With 4.5 to 5.4% alcohol by volume. Ceased production 08, but the product is still marketed in Japan.
Wait, so what's it made of?
In 2017, limited release.
Not that one yet.
Let's see.
Is it not a beer? Is it like a Leinenkrugel's like shandy?
No,
shit?
no. I think it's more. It's like a wine cooler kind of thing.
I'm gonna say it's like a freaking spike, like a micro.
yeah.
So this was an old drink that they stopped making a
Yeah.
long time ago. Recently, Coors, I
Yeah,
think last
it said
summer,
2017. Yeah, June
Yeah.
2017 they reintroduced it.
Then it was sold out almost immediately.
Where'd you
buy this?
I just found it today. I guess they're re-releasing it for the summer.
Yeah, they went out of they stopped making that because they got memed to death as like the foo-foo drink that nobody wanted to associate themselves
so
with.
good.
That was like the one that like, huh, you're drinking a Zima? What you a girl? What you a little sissy girl? That was like what we were talking about earlier.
are you
Zima was the drink for that, like in the early mid 2000s.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So
Which is really sad because, like,
This bottle.
if I wanted to like just drink something that was delicious and like has the same alcohol content as like a beer, Zima would be the go-to.
Hard orange soda. Like I have that in my
It's
fridge.
stupid good. Okay, so I just opened up the little hard kombucha here. I'm gonna pass it around. I'm not a huge fan of it, so I don't really want to have a sip of this.
Okay.
We almost need some like little glasses we can split this
Should
up.
we-
Why don't I have any? I don't have any red Solo cups.
No.
Do you have like little like shot glasses or something?
I have little glasses.
Oh, so we can all taste it at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or
Something.
I mean,
well,
that
here, let's pass
this
the bottle.
works.
But then
This
if someone
works.
wants to actually like drink it, then we can pour some.
Okay.
because like this is the one that was going to get the reactions. This
Yeah.
is,
The what?
that
This
one's
is
not
the
good.
spicy beer.
Oh, I guess.
this
Yeah.
is ginger tangerine.
There's
Oh,
no.
that sounds delightful.
There's
actually.
no guarantee I'll enjoy this.
That's okay.
I'm not a big kombucha
I
guy.
don't like kombucha and I don't like this. It's not terrible. Like it's not like that chili beer.
It
or
doesn't
anything,
taste like
but it's just not.
Kombucha just always smells like a fart.
It's the scent is less than the taste.
like it's like
It'll
if
be fine.
It's like if I was sleeping and my cat suddenly ripped one.
No,
out
I'm
of
a
my
big
face.
sucker for a good ginger beer.
Yeah.
Like a good
beer,
good
the
ginger
cock and
beer.
roll. That shit's
Yeah,
good.
any of that, like mules, like I'm a big fan. What do you think, Adrian? Is that okay?
No, are we not reserving
I
judgment?
don't
I
know.
think that was more for the chili beer, just because it was such ass.
Speak your mind, dude. What do you think?
Oh God.
It tasted like, I mean, like I said, it smells like a fart. It smells like a fart, like
Does it taste like a
stale fart. Like this is like shitty underwear smell. Like if I wore underwear for 3 days straight and you smell my underwear, this is like what that would smell like.
Oh, but see, I don't get stinky fart. I get way more of that like gingery kind of.
It's
I
like
got
ginger.
the
It's like a ginger herb kind of.
I get nothing but ginger when I smell or taste it.
I get that ginger herb.
Adrian's farts smell like ginger.
I think kombucha to me is a really interesting drink. I don't really buy it, but if someone has it, I will drink it. It tastes so healthy. Like it tastes kind of like compost, like right? Like it tastes like compost water, kind of. Like
I feel like kombucha is really cool, and like the process of making it is like super cool, but I just don't really like that much.
I don't know.
I'm a big fan of like kimchi and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of like
It's like in
fermentation
that,
process.
that family of flavors.
Yeah, like if this was icy cold and it was hot outside, like I'd drink the shit out of this. I'd drink a lot of that.
I thought it was good.
Because the tingle is that same ginger beer kind of. Yeah, I fucks with this. Kyla Hard Kombucha. I fucks with you.
Good job, Kyla.
We love
that's why we're all
you,
different.
Kyla.
All
You're
right.
the best one.
Why is it?
I can claim it. My
Why is it
beer's
plastic?
less than.
Nick wants.
Well, that's some of the good.
I
right.
claim this shit.
You haven't even had it yet, and I
I
also
like this.
wanted to see-
I like this.
You can claim it. It's fine. No, you have it. I want you to have
actually, no. You claim that one. I'm gonna probably stick with this one.
it. The stick.
We'll get to it. Hang on.
It's a
Hang
lot
on.
of ginger.
trying
It's
to-
a lot of ginger. I don't know. Wait, hold on.
What, you
Sipes?
don't like
I
ginger?
don't know where
you
you're getting the
bitch?
fart from, dude. That's just your thing.
Sipes is gonna end up with a Star Trek one because he already took it out of the fridge.
It's like a stale fart. You know, it's not like
If I had farts anywhere
it's
near
not
that
like
good, I would.
it's not like peak rancid fart. You know, like it's like an old fart, something that's like lost its punch a little bit, but still kind of like off.
Like you locked a fart in
Yeah.
a box for
yeah,
a long
like
time.
you know, like you,
A cardboard
you
box.
cup a fart and you throw it.
We lost the light.
You know?
It's out of battery.
Uh-oh.
It's out of battery.
It's
of
okay.
battery.
They're
Your
back.
lights run on battery.
Do I still
Only
look
problem.
good?
Yeah, they're film lights, so you can like.
I don't even use batteries.
So you can just put them up on C-stands.
I thought it was like one of these up here.
Nick, are those your lights?
Oh, those are Collins.
Oh, really? I like them. They're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. I'm a big fan.
It's really interesting how those kind of lights used to be like $400
Yeah.
like back in the day, and now you can get like a good panel for like $40 and
those were
stuff,
like,
with
those were
batteries.
probably like $30.
It's crazy.
Their CRI is 98, which is insane
Yeah.
for like a $30 light.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
All right.
Dude, what a time to be alive.
Oh,
Gives me Dazima.
CRI is color rendering index. It's basically how close to that color, like, is it actually? So,
Nerd.
like, if something is like 3,200 degrees Kelvin or something, if its CRI is low, it's like, well, it's not really. It's probably got like some green cast.
Which is really important if you have multiple different kinds of lights. Plus, then if you're trying to do some like color grading and stuff in post, it's easy to have that like one spot to pick at. Versus if they're all kind of off, then it looks like a mess.
Yeah. Like, an example of that is when they were making the first scenes of The Matrix, when he's in the office room and stuff. They actually went with fluorescent lights that were purposefully low on CRI to get green casts in it. From what I remember, I could totally have made that up.
I thought they just green gelled shit.
They did for some of the lights, but like for the like above ones,
It's like a more
you could
natural-
see all the way back in the halls and stuff,
Yeah.
like throughout that entire area where he was and stuff.
So they perfectly used, they like purposefully used shitty gear.
Yeah.
For-
Well, because
yeah.
they wanted like symbolically for you to feel not like good when he's at the office.
Right,
'cause
that
he doesn't
green
like
tint,
it.
like the green
No,
tint
that was
makes you
Fight
a little
Club
bit
too.
uneasy,
Was
right?
it Fight Club too?
Yeah, that was. I think you're actually just.
Oh,
talking
and maybe
about,
it was Fight Club.
No, he's just talking about Fight Club. Anytime that he's in the office, he hates being there.
Oh,
so
now
it's
I'm
always
going
like
for green lights everywhere.
it's always this green nasty.
Don't talk about it.
You can talk about it. Oh, dude, killer meme that's totally.
Dude, I love that joke.
I just want to point out, Colin used a bottle opener on another twist top.
Fuck you, boy. What is this guy?
All right, I'm
If
drinking.
men don't use tools, then how are we different than animals?
All right,
Twist offs are for apes.
I'm gonna take my
Twist offs
the
for a
first sip
dog.
of this Zima.
This is gonna be good. That bottle, I don't know. I'm going too much about it. That bottle's cool.
I feel like aesthetics dictate a lot of your purchasing
Like,
things in life.
I don't know. I just have
All right,
like
if
this
anybody
really-
can have this and taste any alcohol in it whatsoever, well, I won't give you anything but props to you.
Okay, here we go.
Does it taste like it's like a Smirnoff Ice?
Like, look at this
No,
bottle. Look
it
how
tastes
cool
better
it
than
is.
this.
It looks
That's
cool.
not saying much.
It looks cool, but in like a like this
It
would
tastes
be
like a
one.
Sprite.
It's like that same kind of strip club on Scottsdale Road aesthetic. You
That's
know?
not that.
Oh
This
yeah,
is like
no, for sure. That's like a club on Mill or
It's like a
Old Town.
fine lady.
Like I'm pretty sure I've got.
talking like-
I'm pretty sure I've been to Zima. Like
I'm talking like the actual glass.
It looks
That's
like
cool.
a very small version.
once
of,
again,
like,
another
a
plea
vodka
being
bottle.
impressed by minor glass blowing techniques. All right.
You can taste the alcohol right at the beginning.
No, you can't. You're a liar.
Dirty liar.
It has an
Dirty
after,
liar.
It has an aftertaste of alcohol. What are you talking about?
If you lie again, I'm gonna force feed you Zima.
I'm gonna butt chug that Zima in your body.
Your body.
It smells like water.
I mean, you're not gonna taste the alcohol if you're drinking frickin' moonshine over here. Let it settle. You're gonna taste the alcohol.
Zima's so
Yeah, there's a little tiny.
Oh!
I haven't tasted
All right, I think it's confirmed. Colin sucks.
Colin has no taste from working in the mines.
Colin is the worst Zima taster ever.
Colin sucks ass at tasting Zima.
I can't taste nothing.
I do like the bottle, but
The bottle's
if the
dope.
beverage isn't good, then who cares?
The beverage is good.
The beverage is good. If you ain't think that beverage is good, you're a
It's a
sissy.
Sprite.
I was
It's
a-
basically
I was a
just
bevy.
Sprite.
It's almost kind of like that Welch's grape juice.
Yeah.
Kind of cheap champagne.
The white
taste.
grape juice?
Yeah.
Dude, that
Yeah.
shit.
It's a Sprite. They basically just rebottled Sprite.
They put some like rubbing alcohol in Sprite.
I also I fucks with Zima. This is
Zima's dope.
That's good.
That's good. Who? Oh, Cypher's got it. Drink it.
That's some good shit.
I've never had this before, but I really like the bottle. And you're right about the strip club look.
Hell
That's-
yeah.
That's it. Straight up.
You ain't right about that.
You
though.
could. It has a strip club name too.
Is there
100%.
Is there like a hipster element to this too, though? That it was like, this is a drink that came from the 80s and 90s and then was discontinued, and they're just bringing it back.
this is-
I mean,
Pepsi
dude,
Crystal.
you gotta think. If I went to any number of bars and they had like a $10 drink that was some sort of like 24 or 32 ounce foam cup with the solo jazz thing on it, you know, like I would buy that every time.
No, like the Costco, like
It's like
Yeah.
you ever seen like the
Dixie
like
cup
the YouTube
design.
doc, yeah, but it's like the YouTube documentary about the daiquiri culture in New Orleans and stuff. It's all these like drive-through daiquiri places, or it's essentially like booze Slurpees. Like that's what they call their daiquiris.
I was just there last week.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it because we were walking on Bourbon Street, and literally there were 4 daiquiri factories, 2 across the street, 2 stores in between, and then 2 more daiquiri factories. I'm like, who the fuck needs this many daiquiri factories? Like, what the hell is this? They're everywhere.
we get it. You're well traveled.
I just, when someone said daiquiri, I remember my first drunk story. It is so lame. I drank one Kilt Lifter, And then I went outside, and it went like, no, I had one kilt lifter, one gummy bear shot, and then I went outside, and the road went, and I was like, trapped.
Yeah, like this, right? Like, this is what I don't understand. If they had this, I don't want to get pulled off of YouTube, so we'll see. Like, if they had this at, like, Valley Bar or something, it was just a boozy Slurpee.
The problem
in
with
that stuff
those,
is
in,
Galveston, too.
in crappy foam cups, I would drink the shit out of
The
that.
problem though
Th-
is
those are all over Vegas, like the Coyote Ugly and the Fat Tuesdays.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be like I don't want pretentious. I don't want it to be a big plastic thing. I want a down to earth QT foam cup.
Don't
with
worry, Coyote
alcohol.
Ugly is not pretentious.
Wait, which one is that? Is that Vegas or is that?
Well, I mean, there's one in Denver. They have like in a few places, but it's just the whole draw is like it's a Western thing, and then like the bartenders are like scantily clad women. That
Oh, I
just
love
dance
that.
and attract women. It's not my sort of place.
I
By the
love
way,
women.
I don't know if you.
in New Orleans and in Mexico there was a Fat Tuesdays at like all of the ports that we were at.
Really? Oh, there's a Hard Rock at all the ports too, isn't there? We went on a
There's-
cruise and
okay.
we like hit a bunch of the Mexican.
I don't think that's.
I'm probably going to save this for the next topic, but obviously in Mexico there's a lot of like knockoff stores for like designer brands and stuff
Oh,
like
you're
that.
getting close.
Sorry,
You're getting
sorry.
pretty
We'll talk
close.
about this.
Oh,
But
You better explain
I
yourself.
saw
edgy.
there was a store that had knockoff Hard Rock Cafe shirts. Like
What?
for that
Just
place.
go.
I'm like,
What
why
did
would
they
you
say?
want that?
Just fuck. I went to Japan and Hard Rock.
I forget where it was. I think it was
I accidentally cut back to the computer screen. just that fine gentleman.
Leave that
so
reaction.
the problem, because you were talking about how you would want to drink those drinks or whatever. The problem with that drink, because we had them when we were walking around out there, is you get about halfway through it and you get like this film in your mouth from like the sugar syrup that just like sticks.
Oh, like the
and
super
you don't
sugary
taste-
Coca-Cola.
I'm
like,
not gonna lie. A decent amount of my good high school or college alcohol memories are like the Mellow Mushroom, Grateful Dead's. You know, like the $3 AMFs.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I am like I am a sucker for cheap, but like you're getting trashed on these.
Well, that's
I'm a big fan of cheap drunk.
I drank my entire one just because we were walking around New Orleans and it's kind of gross and I wanted to be drunk for it. Felt nothing. I finished an entire one of those and
You just
felt
feel like
Maybe you got
sugar
gypped,
buzz.
dude.
I probably
The
did because
night-
I was like, "What the hell is this?"
I got taken out by some younger kids.
Younger
the night
kids.
before graduation, and it was like 3 Irish car bombs, like 4 Grateful Deads. Like I was definitely very hungover.
We should
during
do Irish
graduation.
car
I'm not proud of that.
No, dude, I'm a big fan of the. Well, I mean, yes, I agree. I'm a big fan.
The ones
of
at
the,
Mellow are good because they do it with the left-hand milk stout.
Oh, do they
And
really?
So it's,
Wait, hold on. What is the Grateful Dead? I don't know much.
the Grateful Dead, it's like it's in the Long Island iced tea family. It's just a
gotcha.
modified AMF.
It's just all the alcohol in one cup, party time.
Yeah, and they're $3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a lot of people have different.
So you like sit
variations
down, you're
of
like, can we get a round of AMFs, please? And they're like, another group of these
Oh
kids.
shit.
You're like, woo!
we kept ordering AMFs on the cruise for people.
just random people.
No, there was like this other group of people that we met that had like these like the cards, like the drink pass or whatever, where they just order whatever they want all
Oh yeah,
cruise
yeah,
long.
yeah. You get.
And they ordered all of us an AMF, and then we started like just like the bartender would be like, "Oh, that guy over there was really nice," and we'd be like, "That guy was really nice. Oh, get him an AMF." And we were pretty drunk, but
And then Q Club on Mill has their $6 AMFs.
The trash can.
That was my
no,
first beer.
No, the trash can is at Zuma next to it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the few times I've gone to Mill, if you're doing the thing, it's like you go Q Club, AMF, Zuma, pitcher, trash can thing,
Slurpee dancing with
El Jefe
50-year-olds.
or something. I love going to Zuma. Last time I went on Mill, we just went to Zuma and hung out there the whole time because it's very urban, and by that it's mostly black people, which I
Yeah, and
enjoy.
what's your opinion on this?
I enjoy that because I feel like
Okay,
whenever I've gone
okay.
with my groups of like hipstery kind of people, we like fit in there really well and are like accepted, and then we just dance. Because anytime they're dropping slightly obscure rap music, I tend to know a lot of it. So you like win some people there because like you know all the shit, you know. You're not just like, hey, like I know all the verses to the stuff, you know. Plus, I think don't quote me on this, but
I'm quoting you.
I think if you're going to look at any of the groups of white people, because there are groups of white people, different people want to say that like there is no white culture or something. I disagree. There's definitely like different segments. If you're going to look at all the groups of white people, hipsters are probably going to be the least racist out of any of the groups of white people, you know? Like, if we're just making blanket net, like, assumptions and stuff, it's probably like...
If you're going to be racist about hipsters,
Yeah, you know?
that's how you're doing it
And
now.
so-
Is that what you're
and so
trying to
I
do?
think when we show up with our hipster gang, they're like, all right.
Okay.
All right.
But you can't come across as assholes.
Oh, no, dude.
You don't,
and
you
see,
don't,
and this
but-
is why you go in there, you get some drinks, you dance a little bit, you know the music, and then like everyone, I hate Mill's really weird. Old Town's worse, but everyone has this kind of like attack stance, you know, where they're all very like all kind of looking around.
You
like,
mean how I stand all the time?
Yeah.
And you have to just be like, "What's up, man?" And they're like, and you have to like break them of that, and then they're like, "You're like, dude, you look good tonight. Like, nice job, dude." And he's like, "What?" And you're like, "Yeah, you
Nice
look great,
pecs,
man.
dude.
Like, you dressed up. Nice job, dude." And then like
Your
get,
ween looks really
you
big
look-
in there.
Never see us out.
and then you get the group right around you to all be on your side, where you're like, "Yo, I'm trying to pick up girls. I'm just here to like have fun. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm not trying to do anything.
I'm
just
trying to tell this guy he
I'm
looks
just trying to have a
good.
good time, you know." And then you win the people around you, and then you have a great time.
Dude, the absolute worst.
Change of lighting. Now we're all very orange, like our Lord and Savior.
I'm the carrot man.
We're no longer white people.
We're the carrot
We're
man.
off-white now.
Ooh, we're expensive.
Yeah,
We're Jalapeno.
I will say that the absolute worst demographic of people to drink with is like white, dude bro, like
Yeah, the
fratty.
26-year-old investment bankers in Old Town who are trying to
Yeah.
like buy women.
Yeah,
30,000.
those guys,
The
but then also
$30,000 millionaires.
those guys, but
They're-
also very similar like temperament as just like the frat boys. And
Oh, you
that-
serious, bro?
Serious, bro?
What the fuck,
What are you
bro?
looking at, bro?
Are you serious?
Are you trying to fight, bro?
Are you looking at my girl, bro?
Dude, bro.
We call those guys the primal man.
Yeah,
The alphas. We're the betas. They're the
Yeah.
alphas.
BMW drivers.
yeah.
Oh, shout out BMW.
You just alienated yourself from our audience. Thanks a lot,
This
Sipes.
podcast is sponsored by BMW.
Speaking of BMW,
But like those, I was actually talking to somebody last night about this, where it's just like, yeah, when you go to a bar, like you gotta like look around, size people up, and be like, all right, like I have that thought sometimes, that, like, you know, it's about situational awareness, right? You never want to be caught off guard on shit, right? Like I look around, and be like, all right, that guy looks like a huge doucher. And if I look in his vicinity in a wrong way, he's going to try to pick a fight with me. He's not going to win.
To be
which
fair,
means I'm gonna have to
I've saved myself from a lot of that by not going to places like that.
Yeah.
Like when we
Just
went
everywhere.
to when we went to Oso though the other night, like didn't really have to worry about
Didn't have to worry about that, right? There's different types of places, different times of day, different days of the week.
Wait, who are you having
But,
a fight? How are you picking fights with people?
No, because there are a lot of those crappy kind of bars where you're just like you walk in. I don't know, like some people, like I'm one of like
And they
I'm
just
one of those
zone
weirdos.
on
You're so aware of everything that you're just like kind of you're like that guy might be a problem.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
anyone in here is gonna be a problem,
You just
gonna be that
Iron
guy.
Man computer everyone and listen now.
Yeah.
Well, because like everyone goes to a bar for a purpose,
I'm a
and you can kind
problem.
of pick out the people that like they kind of came here to make a scene, or like they came here with their girl to defend
or
their
the
relationship.
drinking alone, dude. The drinking
I
alone.
tend to talk to them, and that's always a mistake.
The like angrily drinking alone in the couples fights are like my worst. Where you like it happens at DeSoto a lot. I go to DeSoto a lot, but you'll see like a couple off in the corner, and they're just having these like they're just like staring at each other like lane to lane, like trying to like argue it out, and you just like walk by, just like like I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm
that might
sorry.
be the best sound I've ever heard.
Yeah. But like the dude bros, like those kinds of people, yeah, like those people will like try to pick fights with like everyone. And I see it all the time, and it's like and
Just
part of
too primal.
and yeah, they're too primal. And there's less of that now. Like I felt like I dealt with a lot of that like in high school. There's a ton of those people like in high school.
We work with some people that are
We
pretty
do.
like that.
We do. We do. We
Pretty
do.
primal.
We do. But like, I think this is a funny tidbit. Is that like those people? They're like they really are like animals, and like animals,
They should be slaughtered.
No, like
I
animals.
slaughtered them like animals. Not just the men,
But the women
and the children too.
The primal women.
No, but like you know, like a predator.
You're holding me back.
I have the high ground. No, but
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
hello there,
General Kenobi.
General Kenobi. Wheezing. Yeah, but no, but like animals, they're not gonna like pick prey that they think is gonna fight back too much, right? Like they don't want to fuck up the ostrich that's gonna like.
That's why
kick their throat
That's
open.
why even places that say I can't, I open carry everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I have a gun.
What I do is I go and
See, there's a gun. It's loaded.
Got my son off
And
in
I'm
the
gonna
car.
start drinking.
I walk in and I yell, I have a gun! I have a gun! FYI, everyone.
It's always banks too. You know,
Yeah.
never.
I carry 3 high point 40s on me at all times.
Ankle carry all
Dude,
three.
Cody has to be really confused in the other room there.
No, he's fine.
I carry 2 guns with me. I surrender one at the door of the bar. Say, yeah, sorry, I forgot. You can take this, I guess. And it throws them off your scent. They don't realize you have a second one.
They don't realize you got the sound off in the pickup.
I always throw them off when I bring these guns. And they say, hey, you got a permit to carry those guns?
I said, I don't remember buying a ticket to that show.
Yeah, but yeah, that thing with
I hate myself.
that thing with those type of people in those environments that they want to fight. Again, like they don't want to pick
That's
prey
me.
that's going to put up too much of a fight.
They wouldn't pick me though either.
Yeah.
They pick in between another primal man and me.
I also
Yeah.
definitely,
Like
I also
maybe you
don't,
guys.
I also don't understand like people that go to bars to like try to meet people / pick up girls.
I get that.
I feel like that's like the worst place to do that.
Because you have to ask yourself, you can do that successfully, but you have to ask yourself, what types of people are you picking up there?
You have literally no context for anyone who's there.
The joke is that doesn't work so much.
But why do
you
people
shouldn't
try?
do it. But people do it.
Because
You know?
there's people that aren't in on the joke.
Sometimes it could work. I don't know. I'm
You're
going
one
to
of
play
the
devil's
people.
advocate.
You're one of those people.
Riker, have you ever picked somebody up at a bar?
No.
Like I haven't even
Why would
tried. Like I've talked to girls like while I was waiting for my drink and stuff, but then I'm like, all right, have a good night, and I like leave. You know, it's
Well,
not
I
like
think
a
the problem with
hey,
it is,
Hey, pretty mama.
hey toots,
is the
you need a provider? I'll be your caretaker.
the ratio.
Hey, big butt woman.
The ratio of guys that go to bars to try to pick up women versus the ratio of women who go to bars
To get
who
picked up?
don't want to be fucked with.
Oh, okay.
Like that ratio is pretty consistent.
I think
Like,
it's
like-
I think it's different around here though. I think we have like especially in like the old town, like some of those setups. I think you have a slightly higher amount of girls trying to go fishing.
There are a lot of people trying to play hard to get.
They're trying to get
That's
into
the
a
W.
mansion.
Go to the
That's what
W.
they're
Everyone
trying
there is
Also,
trying to
remember
play
we used
hard
to
get.
call pass hops going fishing? It was like I caught a fish. Like, I always like that. All the fishing emojis.
Why would you go fishing at a bar?
I never heard that.
Because, okay, if you think about this,
There's no water.
That's what the primal men call
okay,
it.
if you think about this, if people, it's really hard to make friends as adults. Like if you think about this, if you worked a job that was like, if you worked in that warehouse, like if you worked with all dudes or whatever, you're not meeting girls there. If you don't have any sort of like church or religious anything, you're not meeting new people there. So like, if you don't really have any hobbies, if your main hobbies are working out and drinking, where are you going to meet people?
You should go to the local
Home
fishing
Depot.
Gay Tinder.
Gay, I think that's called
That's
Grindr.
called Grinder.
No.
Not that I would know.
I'm grabbing a
No,
slice of pizza.
a
Does
girl-
anyone
I'm
want
going to show some of
Yeah,
these
that'd be great.
beers because I want to drink them and they're all getting warm.
Okay.
drink the
Speaking
beers.
of drink,
Of course.
I've had
Two
close
slurps.
to like the 2/3 of this.
Okay.
And you're wasted?
No, I'm not.
We're going to be
wasted.
carrying
I'm
that right here in
jolly.
a body
I'm
bag.
jolly, but I'm getting a large. It's taken the entire time to land on this conclusion, but I'm getting a lot of Propel water in this. You guys
Okay.
remember that stuff?
Yeah, hell
it's just
yeah,
stronger. Shout out Propel.
Shout out.
If you ain't drink Propel, you're a woman.
This episode's brought to you by Propel.
Or a Nazi.
So this other one that I picked up, I just thought the name was funny. It's just a regular beer. It's nothing really special. This is Dirty Bastard.
Dirty Bastard.
I don't know what camera are we on? Are we even on this camera?
You're on that camera right there.
Oh.
I love Wu-Tang Clan.
Hello. This. And so I don't even. What even is this? I don't know. It's Founders. Founders is good. Who wants this?
Founders is pretty good.
I'll take a swig. Are we passing this around? Or is
Sure,
this, is this gonna be...
that one doesn't really matter.
Founders is
Whoa,
a good
this
like.
is 8.5% alcohol. Though.
So, yeah, drink
Oh,
it.
is it a porter?
This is Scotch style ale.
That's a heavy ale if it's 8% alcohol. It's the same as Kilt Lifter. Is it really 8% alcohol in Kilt Lifter?
Wow.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh. I get it. Kilt.
Scottish ale. Yeah, no, it's good.
Well,
Dude,
that
Kilt
tastes
Lifter's
like
like a really
chocolate.
good. I like that Kilt Lifter is distributed just about everywhere because it's a consistently good beer. I think.
That tastes like really,
all right.
really
Yeah,
sweet. That tastes like someone put a chocolate bar in there and they shook it up. You sound like
You taste like a chocolate bar, boy.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go.
you're making me young.
Hey, Adrian, you want to tell us all what you think about that?
That tastes like a chocolate.
Smells good. It smells like an old dirty bastard.
Ooh.
Smell me.
Excuse me, ma'am, but you smell like an old dirty bastard. That means you smell good.
I'm tired of this,
One
Grandpa.
more comment like that, and I'm gonna mute you.
What'd you say?
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
It's good.
Well, that's too damn bad. You can stop me, Sykes.
It's good. It's not bad.
You keep digging.
I wasn't kidding when I said I'd mix everything live.
We're doing it live.
Fuck it.
Doing it live.
Fucking thing sucks.
Okay, all right, hold on. This is really good. I'm really impressed with this.
That is.
I'm getting a lot of like, it's the bottle, so I'm getting a lot of like that bottle cap metallic taste. So I gotta
It's a
get.
chop.
Stop it.
It's a
I haven't
chocolate.
had any of it.
It's a chocolate.
No double dipping.
Chocolate. I got some chocolate.
It's,
in.
okay, so it
I
tastes
got
like a
tennis
chocolate
ball.
porter, but you can tell that it's a higher alcohol percent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not fooling you.
It tastes like they put high alcohol, put one of them Hershey's bars in there,
Thank you.
and shook her up.
Okay, so McFate makes a candy bar stout, or candy bar. They make a candy bar something, but it's peanuts, chocolate, and peanut butter. In a.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, right.
I like that.
It's definitely tastes like it's alcohol.
It's
content.
very chocolate.
Chocolate rain.
Nick, taste chocolate. Nick, taste the chocolate.
So, I'm eating a piece of pizza that I had at a community group. Shout out Myers Community. Nice job.
Ooh, good work, Myers.
Shout out to them. We love chocolate beer.
Why do you keep stealing the bottle of
Chocolate beer.
I gotta have something to play with. I probably have later.
Oh, let me just open this beer and then I'll give it back to
What do you think of the pairing between pizza and chocolate beer?
Pairing's not excellent. Founders, I'm a big fan of Founders. They make good beer in general. This one's good. It kind of tastes like the Sleepy Dog. Like they used to. I drank all the beers at Mellow Mushroom over a course of time. I like me a good dark beer. Big fan.
I love good stouts and shit.
So I will give this to someone.
I can't have
No
this.
one wants it. I can drink it.
I'll die from alcohol.
Sorry.
Bury me inside a Gucci style.
Who has the bottle opener? We
Gucci.
need to open up the. God, we look
I
like
have
what?
it.
You want me to drink that one too?
Here.
The Star Trek beer.
I can't do too much of
So
that.
the
It's
next,
for a second.
the next beer that I have, and I think this is the last one because we already talked about that one. This here is the Sticky Toffee Pudding Ale by Wells.
Sounds sexual.
Yeah. So I haven't had this beer since I just started drinking beer. Like I had this as a beer pretty close to whenever I started, whenever I was just drinking Corona and Blue Moon and stuff. So I don't remember tasting this at all.
It's what
We'll
sticky
see.
toffee.
Sticky Toffee Pudding, which
That
is
sounds like
British.
a strain of weed.
It's a British dessert.
Sticky icky wicky.
Sticky Icky Wicky.
It's Rikers got that right.
That's the weed strain. Sticky Wicky Icky. This is Sticky Toffee Pudding.
Is that a weed strain? Is it? No, it's sticky icky, right? Or no?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no one does that. Okay.
No one here does.
Yeah,
We don't do
yeah.
that.
I'll pretend to believe that.
Also, how do we feel about what's the best pizza eating technique? I'm a big fan of the fold right now.
Yeah,
I never used to do that, but now I really like it.
I'm a full guy.
I think the fold is superior, but I never do it.
It depends.
Okay.
Whoa, that almost knocked over the Zima. That's sacrilege.
Emphysema.
That shit costs 20.
Eczema.
I've medicated lotion. What?
You want me to try that one or drink the whole thing?
Sipes.
Because right now I have 3 other beers in my queue.
Sipes has gone rogue right now.
Watch your boy get lit on that episode 5.
You are going low. You
Hold on,
skipped
are
a
you
thing.
waiting on these two too?
What?
No, you already tried.
Sipes
No.
went rogue and opened
No,
his
no.
own beer.
No, he wants me to drink. I'm drinking both of these. If you don't want one of them, I'm drinking the rest of the kombucha.
Oh no, it's a sampler at this point. Just take a little bit. I just want to know how it pairs with pizza.
How does that pair? How's the pairing on
The
this?
Star Trek one's pretty good. It's definitely an IPA.
That tastes like Spock.
Okay, here's where. Let's get to a bigger point in beer. Whoever wants to try that, go ahead. There are so many beers. There's so many beers that are totally fine and drinkable, but like that's all I can say about them. You know, I have an entire list of most beers. Like that's where most Four Peaks and Santans are like, oh, people are like, oh, do you? Like I taste the nuances of coffee and like brown liquor way more than like beer. Where people are like, oh, like what do you think? Isn't that the best? And I'm like, yeah, it's good. Like I drink it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where like the hardest part for me is like assembling a 6-pack of something. Like our local Safeway, like it seems like they only have IPAs and like they're build it yourself.
It's not just it's like Sprouts and everyone too. It's like
Yeah,
very
well IPAs were on
heavy.
trend for a while, and now they're off trend, which means they're mainstream.
Well,
So
it
everyone
was like
thinks they're-
IPAs and then like dry hop shit, like super IPAs.
Oh, I know, like Dogfish Head and shit.
Yeah.
I like the
Ballast Point.
I like the citrusy IPAs a lot more than the hoppy ones.
I just
Like the New
Yeah.
Belgium Citradelic and even like the grapefruit Sculpin and stuff.
I
really don't
hate
like that
the grapefruit and the watermelon Ballast Point too.
I hate that Ballast Point thinks they can get away with charging like $3 or $4 more a 6-pack than every other beer company. I get it, but like I don't at all. I'm like I get that you think you're primo, but like it's never worth it ever.
No, the watermelon one tastes like weed soaked in water.
I thought the watermelon
What?
was okay.
That's a really weird description.
No, no, no.
I understand what you're talking
I
about.
mostly
Okay.
only drank Ballast Point when it was at Mellow Mushroom and it was the same $3.50 a pint as everything else was. Then I'm like, all right, sure, I'll drink your grapefruit.
I drank the watermelon one warm though, because it was like let's buy the one. And
I don't mind like the normal price of stuff. I like it when like like Fry's or Safeway will have a regular rotation of what's on sale. Like I'm tired of Big Blue Van being $8.99 and everything else being like $14.
Dude, you know what the move is? If you go to QT,
Oh really?
Quick Trip has like loose pint cans that are 2 for $3.50.
What?
Yeah. And like Big Blue Van, there was a couple of Santan beers. And
Are they
so-
just big like? what
I
can
can
I
finally
remember?
die for
Yeah.
$20.
It's like night-sized can.
Yeah.
And it's 2 of them. Like they have, I think, like
that?
8 or 9 at any given point.
2 of these is a good jam session length of.
Yeah, and so
What is that?
I'll get a couple of those. Me and a girl have been doing it, and we'll get 2 of those and go to Tempe Town Lake, and then like drink by the lake and hang out.
What is her name?
That's
Call
a good
her
idea,
out.
man.
Call her out
Doesn't have
live
a name.
on
No, she goes to a different school.
A girl's
She's from
doing
Canada.
it with.
It's his roommate Cody.
She's from Canada. You guys
Got
will never
him.
meet her.
She goes to a different school, guys.
But I'm a big fan of that because there's QTs everywhere. If
Yeah.
you're just trying to grab beer to like go hang out with people, like that is the move.
What beer was it again that you were
Like
talking
they
about?
had Big Blue Van, they had a couple of Santans.
Oh,
they
right,
had,
yeah.
Like, and I was like for 2 for $3.50.
Oh,
like
do-
2 pints of like totally good beer.
Do y'all like Mr. Pineapple?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I
That's
so I
our
was
vibe.
with someone on
Mr.
Saturday,
Pineapple.
and I'm like, "Yo, what beer and snacks do you want?" And I was like, I was at Sprouts, and they were really picky. It was like, "Dude, you guys like Mr. Pineapple?"
QT.
No,
QT.
hard no on the Mr. Pineapple.
QT is better than Sprouts to get beer.
That was my
Okay,
nickname
all
in
right.
high school.
I'll have to know. There's no QT by my parents' house, but I'll have to
Big
like.
juicy
Because you live
pineapples.
in Altuve.
All right, I'm gonna drink the sticky toffee pudding ale now.
They called me Mr. Pineapple because my big pineapples and the whole tree.
Best in the town.
Can they not hear me anymore?
That is weird. That's actually, I actually really like that.
He's muting me.
He's muting me.
This tastes like sticky icky.
Can we start a petition to get rid of the word notes when talking about drinks? Because it just sounds so douchey.
Yeah.
No.
Like I like talking
This
about
one
it,
got tennis balls.
and I like talking about notes of something, but I feel like the word notes has just been associated with being a douche.
I'm
Here-
too into the fountain pen community.
Here's my notes. This smells like Cinnabon I left in my car.
Have you tasted it yet?
That's
No, I haven't.
Let
But
us
this-
know
that is the caramel version of that other chocolate bar beer.
Let us
Chocolate
know
Light.
the notes
Yeah, this,
that you.
this smells like butterscotch and Cinnabon that I left in my car.
It's
And-
just,
and
it's
regret.
just caramel.
The
It's
aftertaste
the
that I
caramel
have from
version
that
of
still
that.
is really good. I feel like I'm eating dessert.
Yeah, it is kind of good.
I feel like I'm the white chick at Starbucks who asked for 14 pumps of the caramel into their coffee.
Into her beer.
Why she gotta be white?
Oh no.
She always is. Her name's Stacy.
I 110% agree with what Adrian just said.
I love my truck.
It tastes like, it just reminds me of like Halloween candy, like, what is it, bit of honey?
Oh shit!
It's the
Shout
ones
out-
that you didn't eat.
Shout out to pizza that reheats well. That reheated very well.
Hey,
Yeah.
our sponsor, the pizza.
Wait, who
that
here
we
doesn't
eat-
like reheated pizza? Adrian? What? No. Are you,
What are you, Adrian?
I have a friend. It's not you
Piece
then?
of
I have a friend
shit.
who hates heating up pizza. You're the guy who likes anchovies on his pizza.
Is that friend also a Nazi?
I'm the guy who doesn't dig cold pizza.
Oh, screw you.
So you
Cold
like
pizza's
medium
No, that's
pizza?
it's
I
understandable.
will die on this hill.
good. It's
I-
good. Both of them are good.
Wait,
You're
you
not
like
getting this mic
anchovies?
back.
The
You like
thing of like,
anchovies?
I've never been in a position where I had cold pizza and zero way of heating it, and I just heating it's better.
I'm like lactose intolerant enough that if I'm already taking the hit by eating pizza, I'm not going to eat some cold ass coagulated cheese.
Yeah.
Just give that back.
Yeah, what?
Wait, you like anchovies? Is that,
I'm
was that
nursing on
Is that
the
good?
caramel beer. Okay, here's the deal.
I kind of want to.
A lot of pizza turns to like styrofoam when you reheat it. So I get the whole being hesitant to reheat it. But at the same time,
Toaster oven.
Toaster
oven. Are you
yeah.
a professional or not?
Well, okay, cold pizza really does lack flavor.
I also.
All right, so this is
Are we trying it?
this is the Star Trek beer that we mentioned before. What is the name of it? Please read the label.
I already tried it.
The name of it is Star Trek Mirror Universe Terrans Unite Indian Pale Lager. On the neck of the bottle,
Is that one of them Star Wars?
Zerg Russian.
this is like episode 2, I think. It says on the neck of the bottle. It says on the neck of the bottle, "For empire, for people, for glory, for the South will rise again." Why does that say that?
Can we
Why
What
does
the-
that? Why does that say that?
That sounds like my kind of beer. Hand it here.
can we focus on Nick right now and his reaction to this? Because that was the most amazing reaction I've
What are
ever
you,
seen.
gay? You don't like that?
This is horrible.
Yeah.
I wasn't into
is-
that one. I could
Drink
drink
one of those, one and done.
All right, hold on. I like it, but in doses. I don't think I could drink the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I think that drink's really
My-
gross. You
my
should give
dose-
it back to me right now so I can dispose of it.
This
So we can
is
throw that in the dump.
this is
Put it in my
the
dumper.
right up my dumper.
this is the voice that goes with this. I love Dutch and I love the caramelizer, so I want a caramelizer but with booze.
And that would be my perfect beer.
That is this.
And
A
add that all to a
boozy
Coors
Dutch
Light.
Bros caramelizer.
It's so good.
The only people, the demographic this is made for is Dutch Bros thoughts.
It would.
Yeah.
If she a woman,
Off with you, thought. Away.
Be gone.
Gone.
if
thought.
she breathes, she's a thought.
I'm gonna drink the rest of this. This is so good.
Collins
Okay,
and Paul.
I'll give you that. There's way more caramel than there is
Shout out
beer,
to that dude.
than there is hops.
Dude, that dude's looking at Colin like, come on. Cheers. Cheers to that.
He's not getting excited.
Don't you judge me. I like what I like.
Has it stayed on that frame the entire time?
Basically, since it's linked to the keys, one happens to be switching to the frame grab and this part of the YouTube clip.
Okay. Because we're all, whoever can't. Okay,
And then this is me and your cam is that shot.
I was wondering why I kept moving.
And then 3 is that guy, it's the vampire.
It makes
Okay.
so much more sense now.
Okay, hold on. For context, I know of a couple of people because I'm an audio guy only. I'm a bad promoter. This is a video podcast. People know
Oh
that.
yeah,
However,
videos
we
on my
are-
YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll post the YouTube link in the audio description
All-
stuff. But okay. But we're looking at screenshots of stuff that we had stopped on earlier, and watch the video.
It's a nice, hardworking black man who's
Why has he got to be black?
You don't know.
Bob? Why are
He
you?
is.
Why are you just?
What's his
assuming
facial expression
shit?
say though, right? Oh, you think you know what you're talking about?
No. His facial expression
No, it's
says
good.
someone is excited about something, but I've seen people be excited about the same thing so many times that while
That it
I am-
warms my heart.
I am charmed that they are excited, I don't really give a shit.
It's like the Willy
judging,
Wonka.
I feel like.
Like
No,
the Willy
he's
Wonka
gearing
meme
up to a
picture.
sincere.
No, that face is
You know
whatever
what?
something gives you a Christmas present.
Let's
that you
cut
don't
to the
want.
video and see if he's sincere or not. Sipes, how's my volume looking?
He's gonna be sincere. I'm telling you. He was kind of what you said, because he said, "Yeah, it's just a drink, bitch."
He gave you one.
drink.
He gave you one of this.
Yeah, like
He gave that giggle.
He actually almost did exactly what you said he was gonna. So damn it.
Refreshing drink.
He doesn't know why he's excited about it. He does this all day.
That makes you smile. It's a cool, refreshing
Drink.
oh yeah, no, you know this shit. They're like, what makes a daiquiri, such a special New Orleans experience? He's
like, I don't know, bitch.
What's such an icon of our local, the local New Orleans scene? And he's like, it's a cool, refreshing
It's fucking hot here.
drink.
It's a fucking drink.
Just look at him right now.
It's a good drink.
But look, now he's happy about it.
Oh no, but the
He's
eyebrow
condescending.
parade.
He's so condescending.
Yeah, this was the.
Oh, there's the face.
Looking frame of this guy.
That's what you like. That's what you came here to get.
It just reminds me a lot of the meme with it was the original Willy Wonka, the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like
So
the-
you get nothing. You lose.
Yeah.
Good day, sir.
I feel like if we stay on
Joke's
this
on him,
topic
he's
too
dead
long,
now.
Vice is going to come for us.
Yeah, right.
Look
Shout
how
out
that
to
worked
Vice.
out for
This
him.
They're going to take all our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Vice.
It takes us $5,000 to run this.
Vice is a New Orleans based.
Please send cease and desist
Daiquiri
letters to
company?
Nick
You're
Hanstrom.
bombing out there, Colin. You're bombing.
You're bombing out there.
No, they don't send cease and desist letters. They send like edgy journalists to do a piece on you.
I love being edgy. That's how they call me.
Like you're gonna come out and there's gonna be a guy with like a
Congratulations.
with like a doofy haircut and like it's gonna be colored on the tips like blue, and he's gonna have like a bow tie on. He's gonna have a bow tie on and like a Rode like boom mic standing coming out of the bushes, and you're gonna know that it's Judgment Day for Nick.
Nice little.
And you're gonna think, oh no, the Vice people, they came for me.
Special
And-
Officer Doofy.
And I think with that, thank you for joining us for the alcohol episode of the podcast.
We sure did do it, though.
We drank lots of alcohols and,
As you could tell
and had a great time.
by the decline.
So we're going to do another one right after this, get some in the queue. So if we're in the same outfits, that's what's up. So for the Demonetized Podcast, I'm Nick. Thank you for watching. Find us on YouTube. And have a good week, guys. See you later.
Bye, fans.
This one's fucking warm.
What was that?
It's real warm.